Hey y'all. All right, so I just want to take the time out to talk about my story and to also give facts about my story and my diagnosis. So let me pull that up. So not exactly, but around February 13th, that's when I had my first hospital visit. I went to the hospital. I was at work. So I was at work at my desk, and my little chair is squeaky. So one of my coworkers, she kept hearing my chair. I know she came to my desk before, and she was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I just can't get comfortable." So after that, she went back to her desk, and then when she came back, I didn't realize that at the moment. I was just blacking out. I thought I was just going to sleep, but I was having seizures. So she was like, "You come on to our supervisor's office." I was like, "No, I don't want to go." I said, "I'm fine." She said, no, you're not." So she took me to my supervisor's office. I think I had another episode there at my supervisor's office. And so they called 911. So I think I just kept having seizures or whatever. So I remember seeing my mom, and then I seen the ambulance. And I was in the back of the ambulance ride. And then I don't remember too much from the first hospital visit, but I do know, I do remember going back to my mom's house that night. And then we went right back out to another hospital. So there, I do know, after, I got better and stuff like that, I was asking my mom questions. And she was like, yeah. No, wait. Hold on. So I was like, "Mom, you know what happened to me," stuff like that. She was like, "Yeah, you were diagnosed. You were diagnosed with Anti NMDA Encephalitis." So what that is, it's a rare autoimmune brain disease that occurs when antibodies attack NMDA receptors in the brain. So I was in a hospital for like a month and a day. Like I got out like a week before my mom's wedding, because her wedding was March 30th. So yeah, it was a long road. Let's see if I can look up the symptoms. So pretty much, before I got to the hospital, maybe like a week or so, I had like tinglingness in my arms. So on my left side, on my leg, and my arm. So it was pretty much seizures. So that was like the first sign. And then I had movement disorder before I went to the hospital. And I taught with some kind of, well, I don't know what I was about to say, but yeah. So pretty much I had those two things and loss of consciousness sometimes. And then another symptom is behavior, pretty much paranoia, hallucinations, aggression, and another one is cognition, so memory problems. Well, that's another one, memory deficient. I had a speech disorder, seizures, and that's it. So if you just look up NMDA encephalitis symptoms, I had every last symptom. Some of it came after I got into the hospital, and some of it came before. I do remember having hallucinations, because before, did I say sleep disorder? I definitely had a sleep disorder. I couldn't go to sleep. But before I had went to the hospital, I do remember having a hard time going to sleep at night. One time, like the week before, that week I did go to the hospital like a couple of days before, Well, those few days, because I think I went on hospital on a Wednesday. I think it was the day before Valentine's Day, so like that Monday and Tuesday, whatever, I was literally afraid to go to sleep because I felt like I was going to die. I would wake up dizzy. I would wake up tired. I would have nightmares, so I would pop up in my sleep. I remember the last nightmare I had was like it was like a dream of like a spider coming to me. I woke up in a cold sweat. I was terrified. Of course, I told you I had the seizures before, and while I was in the hospital, I did develop a speech disorder. Of course, I had loss of memory before. It was hard to me to remember things. My job was getting difficult. It would take me longer to do things. When I was in the hospital, that's when like paranoia had came along, hallucinations. I was a little bit aggressive. I kept trying. The only person I really listened to in the hospital was my mother. But other than that, like when my mother was gone, I would try to escape, and like my family members and hospital staff and friends, they would try to like hold me down in the bed or just try to get me back into the room. They eventually ended up strapping me to my bed so I wouldn't escape because I just kept trying to escape. And one of my side hustles was Amazon Flex. So I would try to schedule shifts knowing good and well I couldn't do Amazon Flex. I was in the hospital. So I would schedule those thinking I was gonna be there. I would argue people down. I'm like, I got Amazon Flex, I gotta go, you gotta let me out of here. And stuff like that. So it was definitely like a crazy time. And I do remember like before, my headaches was like all over my head because I would feel pain all the way from here all the way to the back. It was awful. It was really painful. It just felt like a migraine. So yeah, so I know certain people may have certain areas of their brain affected, but my whole brain was inflamed. It was definitely inflamed. They do when they had World Encephalitis Day, I had missed that. That was February 22nd, and I was still in the hospital. But I do want to give like some facts because it's such a rare autoimmune disease. Not a lot of people know like what is encephalitis, and it's different types. So on their website, so this is coming from encephalitis.info /world-encephalitis-day /. So it says on their website, it has what is encephalitis. So they listed down 5 facts. So encephalitis is an inflammation of the brain. It is caused either by an infection or through the immune system attacking the brain in areas. So I didn't have an infection. They actually found a dermoid tumor or a teratoma tumor on one of my ovaries. So that's what caused, and pretty much my immune system started attacking my brain because of the tumor. The third fact is anyone can be affected by encephalitis, irrespective of age, sex, or ethnicity. The fourth fact is encephalitis can lead to death, and survivors are often left with an acquired brain injury and life-changing consequences. And number 5, early recognition and treatment can save lives and improve patient outcomes. So because they caught my diagnosis early, I have been blessed to have a 100% full recovery. So I'm definitely thankful for that. I tried to like write in my journal So I write in my journal every day. I can definitely see improvement. I've been writing also about my disease, so I can read you. This is pretty much like 3 pages. So this is pretty much gonna let you all know all the good details and things that I experienced. So February 4th, 2024, the day after my mom's friends and I celebrated her bachelorette day, I woke up and my arm was a little numb with tingling sensation. All I remember that night was that I slept good. Some nights before that and after that, it was hard for me to get some sleep. But when I was able to rest without popping up, I rested well. The tingling sensation went on for a few days, off and on. I noticed I was tired a lot, but I was working 2 jobs, plus overtime for my full-time job. I thought I just needed to catch up on some rest. After a while, I started to tell my friends and my mom about this sensation. Nothing was going on with my body at the time. I was driving fine, taking care of my daughter, and the house fine. Everything was okay except my sleep pattern was changing. I was getting more and more restless nights. I would prepare me and my daughter for bed early so my body could catch up on the rest. As the days came, I felt I was preparing for something new, something that was going to drastically change my life. I didn't know at the time what it was, but I continued to pray for good and stayed in my Bible. I even started to declutter things in my room and car. In my spirit, I felt I was preparing for something greater. I was preparing for something good and nothing bad. February 12th, I was afraid to go to sleep for some reason. I had fear of death upon me that had me afraid to go to sleep. I would wake up in cold sweats and dizzy. I was so tired this day and I was quiet. I did my work as much as possible, a little slow because I didn't want to make any mistakes. This week I was irritable. I was snappy and moody. It was some noise outside, y'all. Okay. I knew I wasn't myself, but I thought I just needed rest. I continued on with my day, trying to complete my task as much as possible. February 13th, the dreaded February 13th. I woke up with less sweat, but I was still dizzy. I had a little more energy than I had the night before. That morning, I got my daughter and myself together and dropped her off at school, and I headed into work. I was in a good mood. It felt like my sinuses were draining a little bit because for the last few days, I had headaches. I keep ibuprofen and seasonal allergy medicine at my desk, so I took it 3 days straight. My headaches went away. I thought they were there because of the weather. The weather had been crazy. It's been on and off cold /rainy the past few days. I remember going into work feeling great and felt as if everything was okay. I just felt tired. I remember looking in the mirror at my desk and noticed I had bags under my eyes. As the morning went on, people would ask me questions. I was delayed in response while staring at my computer screen. I told them I heard them, but I was just trying to process their information. My coworker that sits across from me came to my desk, and I guess I had an a seizure. She said, "Come with me to our supervisor's office now." I was hesitant at first because I thought I had fell asleep. She took me to our supervisor's office, and they both stood over and called 911. Next thing you know, I see my mom in my supervisor's office, and I call out her name. Then I see the paramedics. They put me on the gurney and asked what hospital I went to go to. My friend Harvey and I say Maine at the same time. I don't remember the visit to the ER. I do remember going back to my mom's house, and I believe I had another episode, and we went to another hospital, H&M Pineville. From there, I remember seeing my dad in the evenings. He wanted me to go to sleep, and I argued with him saying, "Dad, I did sleep. You just got here, Dad." He only wanted me to rest because I wasn't sleeping at all in the hospital. I remember seeing my daughter a few times and crying when our visits was over. I had missed her so much. Because of high COVID cases in the hospital, she couldn't come and visit me like she wanted and how I wanted her to visit me. When I first came to myself, I thought I was in a hospital for no reason. I had no idea what I went through. I had no recollection of what happened after I was put on the gurney at my job. I didn't know I was actually having seizures. I thought I was tired and just going to sleep. I definitely know I was having seizures a week or two prior to the full-blown ones. They were mild/low-grade seizures, my mom explained to me. I don't remember much from the first 3 weeks I was in a hospital. Just a few things here and there. I definitely remember more of when I was at Wake Forest Baptist Hospital. The funny thing about that, my donated blood goes to that hospital to help sickle cell patients. What I went through turned out to be a blessing, believe it or not. It has changed me in so many ways. I grew more spiritually in maturity. I'm in the process of rebuilding relationships. Yes, I was immature and selfish. I wasn't grown up to face some realities. I'm at a point in my life where I can face the hard truth, whether it's easy or difficult to get through. This experience with the unknown has changed me for the better. Anti NMDA receptor encephalitis is what I was diagnosed with. That caught my diagnosis early, so I have a 100% chance of a full recovery. My whole brain was inflamed. My whole brain was affected. It is a rare autoimmune disorder that causes brain inflammation when the antibodies attack NMDA receptors. The trigger for my disease was a teratoma tumor that is on one of my ovaries. They finally found it from one of my visits as an outpatient. The symptoms of anti-NMDA are behavior, paranormal hallucinations, aggression, etc., cognition, memory deficient, speech disorder, loss of consciousness, movement disorder, motions of the arms or legs, abnormal movements with the face or mouth, seizures, and dysfunctions. I experienced them all. I remember having a hard time going to sleep. I do believe sleep disorder is a part of this disease as well. Before I was in a hospital, I had hallucinations. I was so tired I had to ignore them. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny while I was going through it. At some point, I was restrained to my bed to stop from pulling all the IVs and monitors off. My mother told me I thought I was on vacation on a cruise ship. I would have nightmares as terrors where I would rip all my clothes off and run down the hallway butt naked screaming. I would even sit in my bed and scream. I do remember screaming. I was physically there, but my mind was somewhere else. During the day, I was fine. I was myself. But at night, the night was rough for me and my family and friends. They did have to sedate me. I'm glad they did that instead of putting me in a coma. Using the bathroom was the most confusing part. At that time during my hospital stay, I didn't know where I was city-wise. I didn't even know I switched hospitals and agreed to be a part of a study for my disease. I had forgotten. One hospital that had a period for me to use the bathroom instead of getting out my hospital bed to use it. And the other one I didn't. I used to call the nurse and say, I had to use the bathroom, can someone help me? She would say in her island accent, you have a period, use the period. Did you use it? I would confirm and say thank you. When they took it out or I was at a different hospital, pretty much just didn't know, so I was confused or it didn't work, I would wet myself and call the nurse and let them know I wet myself. I was so ashamed because I was an adult. It was so much confusion during that time. I was so sick. I was in and out of it, forgetting where I was and why I was there. After I was released from the hospital, I had to relearn a few basic things. Normally, people who are diagnosed with this disease have to learn how to walk again. Luckily, I was blessed being able to walk out my hospital bed. I had my days where I would walk for miles in my mother's neighborhood, and other days I could barely walk down a full block. But glory to God, I am walking twice around the pond at Freedom Park and now incorporating exercises from my workout app twice a week. So there's pretty much what I have so far from my story, and I named it My Experience with the Unknown because at the time I didn't know what it was and I kept forgetting my diagnosis. So I am in a support group with other people that has encephalitis. So there's like different types of encephalitis. So NMDA is one type, but it's also the most known type of encephalitis. So let me put types of encephalitis. One thing said something else. But in the support group that I'm in, it's like people have different types. Okay, so I found it. So I just Googled it, and under the people also ask, under the question that says, what are the 13 types of autoimmune encephalitis? It has anti NMDA receptor, LGL1 antibody, CASPR2 antibody, anti-GABA lowercase a receptor, and then it has anti-GABA lowercase b receptor, anti-DPPX, anti-GAD65 limbic, anti-AMPAR. So it's like different types of encephalitis, and everybody, of course, everybody's body is going to deal with it differently. So that's that. I have been asking when I do meet with my doctor, I ask him different questions. I am able to ride, like, because I took my daughter to Carowinds for her birthday. So one of the questions was, can I ride roller coasters? And he was like, yeah, that's fine, but just don't ride anything that goes upside down, because at the end of the day, I'm still healing. I haven't started back work yet, but I feel like I may be back there by September, maybe. So yeah. That's all that I have right now. If you have any questions or concerns or any statements, anything that you want me to go over, if you had looked it up and you have questions about certain things, please let me know. I may do a video about that, but I just want to sit down, share my story, because this could help somebody else. I was lucky enough for my diagnosis to be caught early so I could have 100% chance of recovery, but I do sleep most of the time because my body is still healing and repairing itself. So, and I still meet with my doctor for my diagnosis, just to see how I'm doing and stuff like that, and making sure that I'm progressing well and that I don't have any setbacks. So yeah, if you have anything that you want to say, feel free to comment or let me know. See ya.